Hello, welcome to another ramble. Um, I literally don't know how this video is going to come out. Always happens when I press the record button because I just don't know. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. I don't know how it's going to be said, but I did feel inclined to make a video today regarding. Um, I'm going to talk about a river. I'm going to use a river as an analogy. I'm also going to talk about things I observe, and maybe you can relate to these things. So, if you're similar to my disposition, I think people watching, is a favorite pastime. I know I thoroughly enjoy it, and yeah, it's kind of like one of the first things I notice when I am in a particular space, you know. So, recently I encountered someone, and they were having issues with like something coming out the way they had anticipated. And I just totally skipped subjects. I just realized that. But isn't that how the INFJ brain is? It's like a mass of data, just like a crazy ball of yarn. There's no sense to it, but it's all connected, right? Okay, so hopefully I will go back to people watching and things I have noted. But right now, I know someone, and I guess life just isn't working out the way they want it to. And you know, I kind of like take note of these things. I don't know. I'm pretty sure you do too. And you just kind of like sit back and then you watch people, and then a lot of them, like, life doesn't turn out or deliver the results they want, and then they just kind of complain, and then they're like a ball of anxiety, and they're just kind of running around with like chicken with their head cut off. And I'm just kind of like, chill, we need to chill. And this is how we are going to move into my river analogy. So and also my people watching tendencies. So I think you can agree, like, from a very elementary foundational point, when you look at people, like, literally, you just sit there in silence and you just watch them. People give themselves away all the time. Like, if you're distracted, you're going to miss it. You know, if you're like, I don't know, dawdling with things, or just kind of like all over the place, or like mental fragmentation by staring at technology, you're going to miss all of these things. However, being INFJs and um, I don't know, we like to understand things, right? We like to understand how things work, especially like human beings. I know I do. It's like, why is this person doing this? Why is this person like that? Not from a not from a judgmental stance. It's just like truly trying to understand them, so you can empathize, and you can like kind of pivot and shift yourself in such a way to create balance. You know, um, yeah, we've been doing it our whole lives, right? Let's just be honest about that. But anyways, so from a very elementary foundational standpoint, if you watch people, they're telling on themselves all the time, from like micro movements, micro expressions, the way they move their body, um, their gait, the tone of the voice, um, eye contact or lack of it, the way they even walk. You know, like, if the feet are outwards, that means they're confident. If the feet are inwards, they're not so confident. If it's this way, that means something too. Maybe they're open and closed. I don't know. But anyways, yeah. So from a very elementary standpoint, I think most human beings subconsciously or consciously pick up on these cues. You know, if you were to maybe graduate up from those um, the obvious. I feel like you can look at a person's environment, like how do they live? Is it cluttery? Is it uncluttered? Is it dirty? Is it not dirty? How do they eat? How do they consume things? How do they manage their money? All of these things just kind of give you more insight on the people you're dealing with, you know? And then for me, like, and you probably, it goes to a more like advanced phase where like you can just literally feel people's energy, you know? Like you can feel them. There's and you can feel the blockages that they have. You can feel the dis-ease and discomfort that they have with themselves. And then it's like, for me, it took years. I had to like learn how to discern and differentiate someone else's energy from mine. And even still, I still end up catching the contagion and having to transmute that. Do you guys have these issues? I know I do. I've gotten so much better though at recognizing like what's happening and what's mine and what's yours. And even if it's yours, I still might catch some of that and have to transmute it, in order to like, well, I feel like the only reason you'd catch it anyway is that there's probably something within you that's unresolved, because if you had resolved it, then you probably wouldn't catch it and you'd just be able to recognize it, you know? But anyways, this goes back to the river analogy and why life seems to not cooperate with certain individuals. You ever like met someone where they're always down on their luck or things just don't work out and they're trying and they're trying and they're doing and they're doing, they're forcing and they're forcing, and it's exhausting, so exhausting to see what these people put themselves through, you know? So my whole thing is, and I had to relearn this, I had to like reprogram my brain and rewire things in there to operate in such a way that I don't force. And if I'm human, I do falter sometimes, but I'm really good at getting myself back on track, but I don't force, I don't beg, I don't have expectations. Like I've become very detached, honestly. Like, yeah, I don't have expectations. I've just learned to just radically accept everything in the moment as it is, to accept reality in the present moment just as it is. And I don't have expectations. I'm kind of like that leaf that's floating on the river, and I just kind of glide wherever life takes me. If something works out, great. If it doesn't, it wasn't meant to be, and just keep on flowing. You know what I'm saying? So same with like the river analogy. I feel like I have something by my lips, by the way. I don't know. It's like hair or something. Whatever. With the river analogy, so I think a lot of us, okay, if you were to look at a human being as a river, and energy is just supposed to flow, in and out, kind of like your breath, in and out, just like that, flow, like a river, just flow. A lot of people have been putting up like, I don't know if you guys can relate to this. Do you guys go in the river and then like build rock walls to make like to form pools that you can kind of like relax in? Well, if you can, a lot of people like build walls, like rock walls that prevent the flow, of life. And so there's a lot of blockage and constriction and tension in the flow. So instead of like the water or the energy or life just flowing through you, it kind of like becomes like a dam, or and instead of the river just flowing, sometimes it's just like a trickle, and people are just like, why is this taking so long? Why is this not happening? Why is my manifestation not coming through? Because you've blocked your river. I know I sound pretty like woo woo, but you get what I'm saying. I think that's why people tell stories. It's just easier for someone to grasp a lesson in a story or an analogy in order, versus just having like all these technical facts and logic being thrown at them. Well, everyone is different, so obviously, like the T's would probably appreciate the logic and all that stuff, but I prefer stories because it's just so much easier to grasp. You know what I mean? So that's why I use like analogies a lot of the time. Yeah, so if you personally are encountering blockages in life and things just aren't working out the way you want them to, or you personally know people within your direct environment that are having these issues, just remember the river analogy, and then you need to, like, your job is to continually clean the leaves. You know how sometimes rivers have like buildup of leaves. Clear the leaves, remove the rock walls, and then everything will just flow effortlessly, honestly. Like, I used to be that person, that oh yeah, I know what is like a really big blockage I've noted in people currently? Fear. 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 Yeah, absolutely. Fear is a major blockage. Like, it causes people to tense up. It causes people to want to fight. It causes people to freeze and not do anything at all. Oh, by the way, I'm like reading like the best book on fear. Hold on, let me get it. Sorry, you're gonna see like this empty space. I should have prepared better before I pressed record, but I never know how these videos will go. And I never know what I'm going to say. So if you're following me along this long, thank you. But anyways, the book is called Transcending Fear. It's amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. Yes. It's by Brian Germain. Germain. Let me just give you a taste from this book, okay? So I have a tendency, I used to like underline and highlight a lot of the things that caught my attention in books, but just got really messy. So now I just use these like transparent post-its, which are really cool. Or I have these little like that, So I'm not just like just graffitiing all through the pages of the book, or there isn't all these like bunny ears, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, here. Fight mode is a risky proposition as it can lead to solutions that cause more problems. I mean, I just like the way he put the words together, honestly, and how it just completely made sense, and it was just like, whoa, you know? Let me see, what did I want to share like a tasty tidbit with you so it entices you to read this book. I'm not trying to force you. It's just a suggestion, okay? La 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 la. Yeah, there's like some really good things. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna share this with you because I thought this was really interesting. And excuse me if I slaughter the reading because I'm not the best out louder reader, reading out loud, whatever. Okay. There is a famous naturalistic observation study done on deer on an island. The deer overpopulated the small island to the point where they were constantly running into each other. The lack of territory and personal space elevated the collective baseline adrenaline level of the deer population to a point of unsustainability. The stress from overpopulation eventually killed the deer, every last one of them. Prolonged stress causes death, plain and simple. I like that story. It's like short, to the point. It delivers a just around just the right amount of data to keep your attention and also make the impact for you to like input. You know what I'm saying? Like it's interesting enough and short enough to like do that. Another thing, what does it say? I'm just gonna read, I guess, this whole paragraph because I don't know. Sorry, I don't want to waste your time you watching me peruse through this book. But here. Having exhausted all other options, mammals tend to hold still and wait for the danger to pass. This instinct often allows individuals to evade predators in the wild. Further, the dissociative component of the frozen state can reduce the effects of traumatic physical injury. There is a time and place to hide and wait for the danger to go away on its own. If it doesn't, we are now out of options. Like fight and flight, freezing is an absorption state that is not easy to shut off. Once the danger has passed, there is no all clear signal that tells us to come out of our shells. This leads to what is known as PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder, formerly known as shell shock. Trauma exists in every walk of life, even down to animals that do not think as much as we do. Abused dogs will cower at the lifting of a hand or stomp of the foot. The precursors that are associated with danger become unconscious triggers for the freeze response, and the individual loses choice in how they react. Freezing is the most dangerous of the three fear states. It leads us to close ourselves off from the world. So I'm like, am I in constantly freeze state? Is that why I isolate myself from the world? I don't know, seriously, that little ditty had me thinking, because I know like we all to some degree experience fear. I definitely don't participate in the fight. Like I don't know. I don't feel like fighting. I don't like this says. Fight mode is a risky proposition as it can lead to solutions that cause more problems. I'm trying to resolve problems. I'm not trying to create more problems. So fighting is the last thing I would want to do. So I most likely flight, which is true. Like if I see like I don't know, like I don't know, just a space, a shopping center, a grocery market that is congested with lots of people and long lines, I will not go flight, you know, and freeze. Like a lot of the time, I don't know, I need a lot of alone time to decompress and just kind of like process everything I've encountered. So I just kind of hide away in my little shell of a home. Is that freeze? I don't know. Maybe. Also, I've been having having to unblock my river and clean it up because I've noted that I've been kind of feeling in a funk emotionally, and I think energy and emotion. So I've been congested with funky emotions. I don't know how you guys deal with that, but yeah, you can sleep, but you can meditate. But why am I saying but? What I do, and this has worked for me in the past, is just kind of sitting and recognizing the blockages, like the stuck emotions in your body, and making a list. And so what I do, I don't know if it's backwards on the camera. It certainly was upside down. But what I do is I do like the negative. So basically these are like the emotions that are blocked in your energy field and system and need to be released and resolved. And then I go and I look up the opposing word. So for instance, good example. I feel disrespected. I know I'm laughing, but for real, I've just thought about like most of my encounters throughout life, and I just feel disrespected, unappreciated, not prioritized, dissatisfied, taken for granted, confused, exhausted, alone, fear, unimportant, abandoned, discord. Okay? So these are the predominant emotions that came to surface when I explored myself today. And I wrote like the opposite. So, why I think this is great? Well, first of all, pen to paper does wonders. Have you ever done that? Like, have you had goals in life and written it down versus, like, I don't know, typing it or just thinking about it? This is like magic. Anyways, I'm getting off subject, and this video is getting quite long. But so this way I can like see, like, okay, these are things that are currently residing in me that is creating a lot of distress, discord, imbalance, disharmony. So I'm gonna like sit with them. I'm gonna recognize them. I'm not gonna suppress them. I'm not gonna make excuses and blame other people or like say I'm a victim. I'm like, okay, I feel these things. I am not these things. I feel them, and they're lodged in my body. Um, so recognizing it, being aware of it, acknowledging it, sitting with it, this helps. That's like the first step, awareness, right? And then I will look at where I want to be, because this is where I am now, but this is where I want to be. So I feel disrespected. What is the opposite of disrespected? Reverence, respect. I feel unappreciated, so valued. So I basically go down like, this is what I want to feel. This is how I'm currently feeling. I'm aware of it. I recognize it. I will give it space to move. The rocks. Removing the rocks and the leaves and the clutter from the river so it can flow, so that eventually you can get to here. So that is my long rant on several subjects. And I'm sorry if you're bored or if it didn't make sense. But as always, sharing is caring. And if you don't put the knowledge out there or the information out there, then, people who are in a situation where they're confused won't be able to, like, have access, to the information so they can improve their situation. Oh, yeah. I don't need to explain it. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching, and blessings to one and all. Amen.